Welcome to Talk Around Riyadh, the Wheel of Time showcast. I am your host, Joe Perry, here with my co-hosts, Jen Isgro and Tom Kokoza. Jen, how are you on this fine Christmas Eve?
I am doing good. I got all my Christmas shopping done a couple of days in advance this year. So that's pretty good. I did find out this week that I have a torn labrum in my hip. So that's good.
No, it's
So
not.
far,
It's
no, it's
not
not good.
good.
It's not good at all. But it's okay. I don't have that much pain from it, and I don't have to have surgery or anything, so that's good.
So how do
But
you recover from a torn labrum?
physical therapy and I don't know, pain. I'm getting a cortisone shot for the first time.
Ooh,
So
there you go.
But yeah, apparently I have hip dysplasia, which I was born with and never knew. So there you go. My
Oh,
first MRI revealed some things about myself. So
oh,
that's why I have a
is
torn
this the
labrum.
MRI we were talking about last week?
Yes, I got the MRI. Follow up to the MRI is that I have hip dysplasia and it's been rubbing against my labrum for 41 years and now it ripped.
So what is
So
hip dysplasia? I don't know what that is.
I'll explain it to you. I'm so glad you asked. So you're the top for the people who are watching. I'm sorry for the people who aren't watching, but the top of your femur goes into your hip socket like this. It fits
Hmm.
in tight, and your labrum is wrapped around the outside of it.
Okay.
So your hip turns, and that's it. When you have hip dysplasia, the cup is too shallow for your hip to for your leg bone to fit in. So it's like this, and then the your when it twists, it's hitting the labrum and rubbing on it.
Oh,
It's not
wow.
in all the way. So I think it can dislocate and stuff for some
hmm
people because
It
my
sounds
daughter had
like,
it when she was born
yeah.
and then they fixed it. But for me, they didn't fix it, but it never caused an issue for me until now. So yeah,
So
that's where we're at.
there's nothing they can do they can't make your hip socket bigger, right? Or
They can
so,
do a hip dysplasia surgery on me, yeah.
oh,
But
which they would have to like either like
that's what
shave
my
down the
daughter,
bone.
my daughter had.
What do they
Yeah,
shave
they
down
have
the
to,
bone?
I don't even want to think about it. I don't know. Or a complete
She
hip
was in
replacement.
like a full like lower
Right. Like
body
she was
cast for
like
both.
she was casted and like she couldn't sit like 90 degrees. She was like this,
I remember.
like leaning back. It was horrible. So that's it. So hopefully I won't need that for a very long time because I need to be able to walk around and do things. And the recovery sounds worse than the pain I have right now, which is very minimal. So
Okay, well, I
that's
hopefully
it. Thanks. Well,
that
Wolf
goes
Brother
away.
explained it with actual medical terminology in the chat. Your labrum keeps your femoral head in your acetabular cup.
Wolf
There you
brother,
go.
are you a doctor or a therapist? Um, well,
Anyway, didn't mean that story to go on so long, but I want to let you guys know what's going on with me.
no, I'm glad. It's good to know this. Um,
I'm
is there
reminded
anything
of
we can
the
do for you right now?
No, I'm fine right now. I'm good.
Louis C.K. bit about like
Yeah,
when he messes up his ankle and he
yeah.
goes to the doctor and he goes, "So what do I do?" It's like surgery or therapy, and the doctor's like, "No, it's just shitty now.
Everything's just shitty now.
Like that's it. Like your ankle is just shitty now." Uh, the
I
good
told
news, I
him,
guess, Jen, is that
We could do surgery, but your insurance won't pay for it. So you'll just have to suffer with it until it gets really, really bad, and then your insurance will pay for it.
well, it's like they could fix the labrum, but then like the problem that's causing it is gonna probably tear the labrum again.
well,
Oh
they have
my
to
So
God.
do like a hip replacement. They have to do like a hip
yeah, but that's
replacement
crazy. I
surgery.
can't do that right now.
Wolf
It's way
brother,
too.
you studied biomedical engineering. I know somebody who studied biomedical engineering.
Ooh.
Jeff.
Jeff,
Hmm.
And then
Haven't
he
seen Jeff in a
disappeared to
long time.
Florida.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He was working for some company making working on artificial organs, I think, right?
That's right.
yeah,
That's right. I forgot about that.
nanotechnology, right?
Yeah,
Oh
something
well.
like that. That's so cool. Maybe you know him. Um, oh, that's your dream. There you go. I'd connect you with him, but he doesn't answer anytime anyone tries to reach out
He's
to him. So
gone.
he's just went to Florida and then never came back.
Oh well.
He's now
Yeah,
a Florida man.
that's it. He's
Tom,
just
how are you
spent
doing?
How's your body, Tom?
my body's all right. I mean, I treat it as a temple, so I'm always in peak physical condition.
Yes.
Um, I'm doing very well. The New York Mets have decided to sign everybody in the world, so I spent most of this week going, "What? They did what? To who? Who's on the team now?" And that just cheers me up through the winter months. Um, Other than that, this is my favorite time of year. Uh, it immediately ends on January 2nd, and then it's my least favorite time of year.
100%
But
agree with that.
no, that's not true. We've already talked about it on the show how fall is my least favorite season. Um, but yeah, it's just I love Christmas. I'm very much in the Christmas festive mood, and I'm very excited because I haven't spent Christmas with anybody but my wife and children since 2019, right? So it was the last time I saw family on Christmas. So it looks like we're going to actually be able to do that. Although my younger son has had a fever for the last 2 days, so
Ugh,
that may be
God. That's 2 days or that's 2 weeks?
2 days, 2 days.
2 days. Okay. All right.
So hopefully he'll be out of it by tomorrow, and then we can see people on Christmas Day. But I'm not letting that dampen my holiday spirit. For those of you who are just listening, I am in my Santa hat now with a Santa-esque word shirt on, and I'm ready to give the gift of this podcast to everybody, Joe.
I like the way you put that. Give the gift of this podcast.
Right?
Interesting.
This is a non-denominational gift. It could be for Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Denali, Festivus, whatever.
Yeah, there we go. All right. So let's get into what we don't have to talk about today. And we might as well start how we start most of our episodes by asking Jen what's happening.
You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. It's what's happening. We have a stacked edition of what's happening tonight, so let's dive right in. We'll start with a story from Ayula Smart's Instagram. Ayula is currently appearing in the play Paradise Now in London at the Bush Theatre, and she posted a picture outside the theatre with some familiar faces, with the caption, "When your Wheel of Time family come to see your play and your heart is full." So joining Ayula are Hamed Adamashan, Donald Finn, Marcus Rutherford, Kira Coveney, Arnus Federavicius, Zelia Mendez-Jones, and Aelid Macaulay. So everyone here is an actor appearing in season 2 of The Wheel of Time, except for Aelid, who, according to the internet, is a journalist/administrative assistant. So we're not sure if she has a connection to the show, but we'll keep her on our radar. Per usual, we love to see the cast and crew socializing, and if anyone out there has seen Ayula in Paradise Now, please send us your review. The show will be running through January 21st.
So, the mystery woman, Aelid or Eyelid or however you pronounce it, she's Scottish. She's from Scotland. Do we know, are any of these other people from Scotland?
It's probably pronounced like F-glid or something if it's from Scotland, right? It's just like
No, that would be
sounds.
that'd be Welsh if she was
Oh,
Welsh.
that's Welsh. Okay. All right.
No, is
No, I
anyone
don't
else?
believe anybody
Is
else
anyone
is-
from here Scottish? I don't think
Don't
so,
believe
right?
so.
I don't know.
So
I
I don't
don't
know. Oh well, there goes my connection. Yeah, she is a so I found her online. She is a merchandising admin assistant for Urban Outfitters Europe. And she lives in
Okay.
London. She works in London, or at least Urban Outfitters Europe is located in London.
So maybe she's just an actual
Person.
non-show related
Yes.
friend of one of theirs.
Yeah, she must be. She must be a friend of one of these fine people who are part of the show.
All right. Well, just in case, we'll keep an eye out for her. So our next piece is some news regarding director Sana Hamri. So Sana is directing episodes 3 and 4 and 7 and 8 of season 2. She posted on her Instagram story, "In case you missed it, The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power announces Sana Hamri as part of all-female slate of directors for season 2. So that's pretty amazing news. Rings of Power has already shared director Wayne Yip with Wheel of Time, and getting an entire season of female directors is quite an achievement. So I can't wait to see season 2 of Rings of Power in 18 to 24 months.
Now, isn't she also like an executive producer now on Wheel of Time or something?
I'm not sure about that.
I feel like that we talked about that a while ago. How she took on like a bigger role with the Wheel of Time. So I don't know if
you could be
she's
right.
just
Not
doing a
sure.
couple episodes of Rings of Power and then she's still going to kind of be connected with Wheel of Time, because it sounded. I don't remember exactly. It's been a while, but I do remember like hearing that there's a longer lasting connection with Sana Hamri and the Wheel of Time show. Like she's
All
going to
right.
be around for a bit.
Okay. Well, obviously her work on Wheel of Time was good enough that Prime wanted to keep her around and hire her for another show. So that's good news for us.
Yeah.
They've seen her work so far.
Maybe they were thinking like she did such an awesome job with Wheel of Time that they brought her on for Rings of Power to make it better because the Wheel of Time stuff that she did was better than the Rings of Power stuff that came out.
Yeah, she is an executive producer on the Wheel of Time.
Okay.
Okay.
On that.
Very good. Okay.
I think it's interesting just on that. Like when we saw the Prime Video panel at New York Comic Con, they did try and I hadn't seen the Rings of Power at the time that we had seen the panel. They did try and talk up like, hey, the Rings of Power, it's also like big female empowerment kind of a thing, which I thought was like a little bit like I don't know. You just came after the Wheel of Time. Like you're not the big female empowerment show on Amazon Prime. You're just not. I don't know. But like I guess they are trying to go down that route a little bit with season 2 with I think it's a clearly conscious choice to say we're going to have all female directors for this season of the show.
Yeah. It's either that or, you get to the point where like you realize like 90% are female and you're like, you know what? Let's just throw another female in and make it 100%.
Yeah. All right. So next is a quick little happy 50th birthday shout out to Alexander Viome. By the time season 3 comes out, you will be the right age to play Tom.
What?
There you go. Delayed reaction. There you go.
Soak it in. Soak it in, folks.
That's it. That's all I
The
have to say
big
about
5-0,
that one.
huh?
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah. I will say he does look better at 50 than I look at 42, but that's not hard.
So
Yeah,
he was 47 when he shot, right? So when did this film? Like 2019, 2020?
Yeah.
So he was like 47, 48 when he was filming Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll
Which is
be
crazy.
like,
Can you imagine that when they casted him, he was probably like 46, and they cast him as Tom Maryland?
One before he films.
That's insane.
The next season.
He's young. I didn't think he was that old, but like thinking about it now, like he's not. One of you guys could have played Tom Maryland. Like you're a little young. We're a little younger than him.
Yeah,
I'm flattered. I don't think I would have been as
you know what I mean.
well regarded or as him.
You never know. You
Although I wouldn't have mind being like a cowboy gleeman. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That sounds like probably the most awesome thing anyone could be. A cowboy gleeman.
It's definitely the next character you should play when you do D&D.
Yeah, right. Instead of having like 2 pistols at my side, right, I have 2 daggers, or maybe like a flute and something else, or a flute and a dagger, or a dagger or flute that turns into a dagger.
Oh, now you're talking.
Or a fluted dagger.
Or it's like you play the hilt of the dagger as a flute. It's like both.
Oh, it's a blowgun and a flute.
Yeah.
Yeah, you blow in and it just shoots dart. You play notes, and when you press one button, or you go to press one note, like what would the note be? Like a B flat? Or no, it'd have to be a sharp.
B flat.
No, it'd have to be a sharp. Like a C sharp, right? Or B sharp.
Oh, I thought it would be B flat because you're going to fall on the ground, and when I hit you with this dart, you will be
sharp.
Flat.
You'll be.
Well, B sharp is a C.
I'll be sharp. You'll be flat. Oh no.
Yeah, it'd have to be a sharp
You're
note.
It's so nerdy. Sorry.
Sharp. A sharp. There you go.
Yeah, A sharp.
A sharp.
There we go.
Okay. And now I promised you an update. Hashtag hen news. Back to Juliet's Instagram, where she writes, "A week ago, this beautiful chicken miracle was brought to my door, and it is a miracle she's alive. People have been tragically killed at the junction where she was hit. To survive all the speeding traffic and her collision and subsequent journey stuck in the grill of the car, which actually broke on impact, still astounds me and everyone who's heard the story. Today, she started properly chatting for the first time. Not much, and it's very gentle, but it's a good sign. Though when I put her outside next to the others in the neighboring pen 2 days ago, she screamed the hen stress scream very loudly.
Oh.
Poor girl. But she's doing so well. Due to having to isolate her for another week, she's still in her crate at night and puts herself to bed. Lucky Perry Hen is adorable and looks like she's now part of the family. Hashtag hen news. I don't have a lot of experience with hens, or maybe I do now, but this hen is absolutely gorgeous. Hopefully
She's a
she'll
fine-looking hen.
I mean, yeah, she's like perfect. She really is. Look at her. Look at that hen.
She should be on Tiana's calendar next
Yes,
year.
I was just gonna say that. The hen calendar. This hen was in a car accident and she looks like perfect.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like she was riding in the grill of a car.
She looks better than
horrible.
most of the other hens that Juliet
Right. They don't have
rescues when
hair
they
on.
first
I
come
mean,
in.
yeah, we don't want to like put them down, but hair, whatever, feathers. She's got like
I don't know a lot about heads.
I know they have hair on their heads. I know that. As far as her name goes, friend of the show Rob from Weekly Wheel News had suggested Perhen, but Juliet read it as Perihen and discovered the word peri is a mythical superhuman being in Persian mythology. So her official name is now Perihen. So I know this was accidental, but when are we getting Iskro Hen and Kokoza Hen?
Yeah, I thought she named it after me in honor of
Are you a mythical superhuman being?
Some say.
Okay, well, there
wife
you go.
says.
My wife.
I am superhuman.
Yeah, so that's Perry Hen. That is her name now.
She's a pretty cool looking hen, I'll say that much.
Yeah. Hope the other girls bring her into the flock. And that's it. I'm good for now. Back to you, Joe.
Flock, that's what you say with chickens, right? Are all birds a flock? No, they're not all birds are a flock.
They're chickens.
But are chickens a flock? Is that what you
Wait, do we have to do the sign? They're all chickens. The rooster has sex with all of them. Yeah,
but
flock.
what
A
do you
flock of
call...
birds.
But but it's a murder of crows.
Oh, Lord.
Right, a gaggle of geese.
Okay, tell me what it is.
It is a flock.
Oh.
Yeah.
You could also call them a peep of chickens.
Ooh, I like peep better. Like peeps. I like peeps.
Like peeps, yeah.
That's why they're called peeps.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Flocks doesn't really sound as cool. I get it. I like it. I'm all for that. Let's call them peeps.
To be clear, if it's a family of chickens, like an actual related family.
You know what time it is, Tom?
No, it's good.
Welcome back to another edition of Where's What Origins. And you know what that means? That means we don't have What Origins yet. But we do have some information. What Origins Jace? So remember how Dragon Mount was doing a rewatch of the Wheel of Time Season 1? They decided to do one more episode after they finished the season, and they did an episode talking about What Origins. And they once again selected a question from the viewers and tweeted it out to Remy Park, who is the writer for What Origins, and asked a question, which she responded to. So while we don't know where What Origins is, we do have something to share from Remy Park. So I will read this tweet out in its entirety. This week we had a clear winner from @Rapunzel347 for a suggested question for our rewatch of The Wheel of Time. So no poll, here it is. Remy Park, if you had your pick, what one story are you dying to tell us as an Origins short? So Remy responded, I'd love to tell the story of how Lan and Moiraine met. I'm truly invested in their relationship and how much they mean to each other. I'd also be interested in delving deeper into different shadow spawn, who made them, how they were made, and why. That would be particularly cool to explore in this animated medium. Also, anything Age of Legends. Okay, so that's three. But it's so hard to pick. So out of
Reacting.
yeah, out of these, so she gave three answers. Which one? Well, I would say out of the three, which one, Tom, would you like to see the most?
Shadow Spawn.
Yeah, Shadow Spawn, creation of Shadow Spawn. You want to just see
Yeah,
Trollocs have babies, right? That's what you
well,
really want to see.
obviously, there's a lot of fodder on our podcast in the previous episodes as to that, but also Agenor is one of my favorite Forsaken, and that gives me hope that he'll be on the show.
I want to
Right?
see
If they're
Trollocs
gonna
have
do if
babies.
they're gonna do a Who Made the Shadow Spawn,
I want to
then
see the
invite you on
Trollocs
the
give
show.
birth to a Murdral.
Yes,
What does a baby Murdral look like?
A
it
small
looks like a
Virgil.
Murdral, but little.
But it doesn't have like the cloak on and imagine not
Those are
garbed.
clothes.
Person.
I know.
It's a humanoid body
Does
with
it
a.
It
look
looks like
like the little?
a.
What is it at the end of Harry Potter? Remember when is it little
Yes, that's
fetus?
exactly what it looks like, except it has no
Fetus.
eyes and it has a nose. Right? Oh no, the Murdrawl doesn't have a nose on the show, right?
On the show, it doesn't. In the
No,
Yeah.
book, it
Yeah.
does. But
it looks like little Voldemort, like a
Yes.
little fetus Voldemort.
Creepy baby Voldemort.
That would be so cool to see.
Yes, definitely.
I
That's
want
my
to see
vote too.
Baby Shadow
Shadow
Spawn.
Spawn. I think it's weird that she said the Lan and Maureen thing because there's no like narrative to any of these. It's mostly just like history about, right? Like, there's no like dialogue. Oh no, there is dialogue
There's
between
dialogue and
people.
stuff.
Some of
Yeah,
them, yeah, but it's not like like a short. You know what I'm
it
saying?
would it
Like,
would be like somebody telling the story of how
right,
they
right,
met. It
yeah,
wouldn't be like it would be like Varen telling somebody about how they
right,
met, or
yeah.
Alana or whatever.
yeah. I mean, there's enough there to do a spin-off series. I mean, they could literally do a spin-off series if they wanted to
Oh,
on.
you know what would be a good setup for it? Like having whoever the lead warder is, like tell like young
Lead
would-be
warder.
warders like how the greatest warder has like met his Aes Sedai, like or whatever. That would be a cool way to do it.
Mm. I feel like we might be getting some of this in the
Yes.
show, but if she wants to tell that story, does that mean how much do you think Rami Park knows of what's going on in the actual show or going to be coming out in the actual show?
I think she
More
knows.
than us.
I
Well,
would imagine that these will all be actual stories that she will like that will be part of What Origins.
really?
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
that the history of
yeah.
But
Shadow
she's
Spawn is
saying
going to
I'd
be in the
love to tell
show.
the story. You're saying that she already told the story and we just haven't seen it yet.
Yes.
No, you think she's saying what they already did? I
I
don't
think
think she
she's
would do
saying
that.
like, "Oh, you're asking me what I would like to tell you. Well, I'd like to tell you about these things."
I don't think they would let her
No
say
way.
this.
No way.
I
They
think
don't even let you say boo on the show. You can't do anything. They have to
yeah,
let her
this
be
is
like,
things
hey, I'd love to do this. Wink, wink. Spoiler, spoiler,
yeah,
spoiler.
Okay.
these have to be things that she is not going to be in What Origins. At
Or
least
she didn't even do the
this
second
upcoming.
season yet.
Well, we don't know that the second season hasn't been done yet because
Right.
It was
But
supposed to be out already,
no, but
right?
that was only like two episodes, right? That was just
Okay.
like a
Yeah.
little two
Yes. It was just it
episodes
was
in
those.
between to keep, I guess, everybody entertained for a little while. But I imagine that the actual, if they do another 8 episodes to follow the TV show again, I would assume those would be already done or at least very far along, right?
Yeah, you would think so.
they would have
So
to
I
then
be.
mean, I,
I
if,
don't think she'd
if
be
it's gonna
allowed to
follow,
say this. If these are, I taking this as these are not going to be in the season 2 What Origins.
yeah, they might not be in the season 2, but I think that they might be in the season 3
I don't know. They
if a
might
season
be,
3
but I don't
were to be
think
done.
she would say them if it was planned already.
So like I would say because if War Origin season 2 is going to follow the show, you figure there's going to be one on the Shanshan, there's going to be one on the Aiel, there's going to be one on Lanfear, there's going to be one on
Well, they haven't done
Carrion.
any evil characters yet, so
Hmm.
Maybe they
But
do
no,
one on
these are my
this.
guesses.
Yeah.
Yes,
Jen,
that
which
would be the
one?
carrion one. I think.
So I'm
Obviously.
sorry. I forgot now if I asked both. Tom, you said Shadow Spawn. Jen, did you answer?
No, yeah, Shadow Spawn.
Also Shadow Spawn? Both of you Shadow
Yeah,
Spawn?
yeah.
I, of course, would like to see anything Age of Legends.
Eh,
Um, I
I think
wonder
we'll get that in the show.
how that movie's going.
Oh God, I forgot about that. Is
Yeah.
that actually still happening?
I mean,
They're writing it,
it's was
right?
being written.
Yeah.
That's pretty early in the process. So,
Right. So
um,
weird. So weird that there's
oh
like.
yeah, Mayhem saying Lemon Sin.
Yeah.
That will
But is that
probably
the same one as the IEL, or that's separate from the IEL?
No, that would
That's
be a
including the
carrion
IEL,
one. I
right?
think they would do.
I
Yeah.
mean, it could be an IEL slash,
Yeah.
yeah, explaining the origins of the whole. Yeah, that would be a perfect one actually to put in there. I bet you we do see that though. But thank you, Remy, for sharing with us. No information though about where is what. Sorry, oh God, I can't speak. No information about when what Origins will be out, but just some information about what she'd like to do in the future. So let's finish out this edition of Where's What Origins. All right, let's get into some news. News. Wah, wah, wah.
We're the Rush Hour Renegades coming at you.
Coming at you.
Sunday. Remember
Wait,
Raceway Park?
Oh, I do.
Raceway Park.
Raceway. So we used to, like when you talk into like a fan and it makes your voice sound
Yes.
funny. We used to do that with the Raceway Park. Raceway Park with the
Did
fan
you see?
blowing.
Did you ever see the TikTok that just came out? It's like
No, I don't
a
watch
girl
TikTok.
in the car. I know, I don't either. I watch it on Instagram, but she's sitting in the car and she's like, it says like me trying to give the radio a chance. It's like 2 minutes of like that stupid shit where they just keep saying like 92.1, wow, and all different noises and like sound effects. She's just like waiting. It's really funny.
All right. We have an article from WattSeries.com just released today, hot off the presses. They have written this article about 2 new cast members that were identified as being part of Wheel of Time Season 2. The first actor is Vincent Kirschbaum. Quoting the article, he's an international actor who was raised between the United Kingdom, Austria, and Ecuador. He has previously appeared in Prime Video's thriller The Feed and historical drama Elizabeth I. He filmed in Prague in February 2022, and according to his CV, he will be appearing in season 2 as a quote unquote Sun Palace servant in an episode directed by Sana Hamri. So, they're surmising that it would be in one of the later episodes, 7 and 8, because of the time he filmed, but it's possible that they just filmed a little bit out of sequence. Especially, I guess, since Sana Hamri's directing 3 and 4 and 7 and 8. So it's possible she did some 3 and 4 stuff during the 7 and 8 time block. So, but anyway, isn't this exciting? Sun Palace servant.
So can I go first? Because I don't know if I feel like I made up half of this already, but I just had a whole thought process going on. So we're going in the Sun Palace.
Yeah.
Which is Kyrian Palace, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, making sure I have that straight. So I think Barthanes, I feel like I said this already, but I think Barthanes is the. Oh no, I never did. Okay, Barthanes is the king of Kyrian. Let's put now, instead of being a lord, he's the actual king of Kyrian, and they go to the palace for the party. Just the 3 of them, Moraine, Lan, and Rand, and then Barthanes gets killed in the same way. And that's what, like, he gets like decapitated or something. Doesn't he die in like a horrible way?
Barthanes in the books?
In real life, yeah.
I was gonna say in real life, because the
Doesn't
books
he
are real
doesn't
life.
he get
And this
killed
TV
by like
show is just
dark
some made up
friends
thing.
or like a Murdral or something?
I don't remember Barthanes dying or how he dies.
You just hear that he died horribly, torn apart. Thank you. He dies like very badly. The golem, wow, thank you. I know they find him and he's like in pieces or something, yeah. So maybe that happens, and that's what starts the Kyrian kind of split because we're not having Tom to kill the actual king of Kyrie.
That's right. We're not Tom. We don't have Tom there to kill the king. So
Yes, so
change the
maybe
king to
Barthanes is the king.
Barthanes. Now, but Moraine showing up at the party, he would know who Moraine is because they're related. They're like cousins.
Yeah, right. But they said that we think that that was going to be like a part of her storyline.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason why he can't know that she's there, right?
No, I don't see how that really affects the story much.
Maybe she's the one who gets Randon.
Oh,
As
so
opposed to
it's not
I
the
don't,
Rand is some sort of lord, and they keep
yeah,
him.
I
They
don't
don't pay him
really
the house.
know
He's
like
inviting him constantly.
why they're going there, but it's maybe like Rand just goes with her. I don't know. Yeah, that part I don't really know.
it could be the same. It could be there's like that's where the Waygate is. And there's only one way. We need the ways, and we have to go into this guy's house to get it.
Right. And she's
Who's
like,
this
"Oh,
guy?
hey, that's
My cousin.
It's in
my
like the
cousin, the
gardens and
king."
the grounds,
Yeah,
just
right.
like it was in the
Right.
books. Just instead of Barthanes' manor, it's the Sun Palace.
Right.
I'm excited to see the Sun Palace. Like,
Yeah.
so now again, going back to the teaser that we saw, or the BTS. I'm sorry, the BTS footage. Right there's that one shot again of that gray-haired woman walking, and she's in what looks like a garden, and behind her is like a doorway, right, with the what we now are assuming, or have more evidence to assume that it's the rising son of Kyrian. So is that the garden in the Sun Palace, maybe? And then who's this woman though? Like, how does that
Doesn't have
connect?
to be a woman. It could be a man, right?
It could have been a
Just
man.
Could
You're
be
right. It could be
long
a
hair.
man with long gray hair and a robe on. It's not Barthanes though, because we know the actor's playing
Yeah,
Barthanes,
I
and
don't think so.
he's very young.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about
Do you
who that person is.
think like you don't get inside the palace in this season, and you just get the garden to save like what is probably a gigantic set?
So then they
People.
actually go. You think they go through that way gate instead of like not being able to
I'm
go
just
through it?
saying, why would they need to go there? That's probably the
Right.
reason why they would need to go there. But I'm saying, like, I was very surprised that a palace attendant is in the show because I didn't think you'd be spending time like in the Sun Palace, you know.
Right.
So
I mean, there's
maybe
also
don't.
Unless he's like a messenger, like he's been sent by somebody from the Sun Palace to like
That's also true.
do some like invite Moraine to the party or something like that.
So there's also the possibility that there's flashbacks, right? If we're going to be going a little bit into
That's true.
Moraine's story, and
Mhm.
there's flashbacks, and he could be a Sun Palace servant in a flashback. Maybe we get Moraine, maybe we get young Moraine in the Sun Palace before she leaves.
That's true. We got young Swan. Maybe we're gonna get young Moraine now.
And that he could just be a servant during a
Excuse me.
flashback.
I can take
Yeah.
that too. A lot of options here. It's
Yes. A lot of roles the Sun Palace servant can play.
true. Very versatile.
That's why Kirschbaum really enjoyed this role. For any, I mean, I mentioned stuff that he was in already. Um, so, I mean, not much. So I don't think, with the name Sun Palace Servant, it doesn't sound like he's going to play a big role.
Right.
So,
Probably not.
but I think the bigger piece of information here is that we're going to get the Sun Palace, likely. We're going to be going in the Sun Palace or around the Sun Palace. So that's pretty cool. I imagine if you go to Kyrian, you have to do the Sun Palace or at least show it. So, confirmation Sun Palace will be in season 2. And likely you'll be inside it because you're not really going to see a Sun Palace servant outside the Sun
Just like
Palace.
the outside, and he's like squeegeeing a window. It's like,
Do they have
oh,
glass in the
I don't
glorious.
see you there.
I don't think
Yes,
they
of
had glass, do they?
in the
real time?
windows?
Yeah, they glass.
Yes, they do.
They did. They mentioned glass. I don't remember glass being a
Yeah.
thing.
It's the
Don't
1700s.
ever remember them
There's no
mentioning
gun ban.
glass.
No, like stained glass windows anywhere. I feel like I remember that.
Rob from Weekly World News is saying there's glass, and so is Dana Lou.
They
I'm
definitely
pretty
have glass.
sure
There's
there's
windows.
glass. Yeah.
Like,
They
Yeah,
don't have
but
just windows that
windows
open.
are just windows are squares openings to the outside.
They don't have holes. They have windows.
Yeah. Whether there's glass in them or not, they were called windows.
They have
these ones
the
got glass.
this thing, the spyglass.
Oh, that's right. They do make spyglasses.
Yes. It's way
This
past the
thing,
time where
guys.
there's glass.
This thing that you hold up to your eye.
Yeah. Everyone who's listening can see exactly what you're doing. Jen
Yes.
looks like she's poking herself in the eye with a large
Yeah.
cock.
Oh, God, no, I don't.
That's not what it looks like, Joe.
Not at all.
That's what it looks like, and unless you watch the video, you're not going to know. So we have another person who was also identified as being in season 2. Her name is Lily Banda, and she is a Malawian. Did I say that right? Malawian actor, singer, songwriter, and dancer. She was in The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind with that famous actor who I cannot pronounce his last name.
Edgiafor?
Is that it? Edgiafor?
I don't know.
Chiwetel Ejiofor?
Yeah.
Chiwetel Ejiofor?
Yeah.
I think that's how you say it.
I loved him in Inside Man.
I knew what movie you loved about.
Yeah, you know what movie I love him
You
in.
got all up in that asshole.
I love that movie, Inside Man.
It's a good movie.
This ain't no bank robbery. Denzel, man, it's good. And it was also in second season of Deep State, which was a TV show. She was in the second season. Now I'm talking about like Chiwetel, like thinking that that's who we're talking about.
Chiwetel Ejiofor is
He's
not in the
not in
show.
the
He's
real
not
job,
in the show.
unfortunately.
Lily
Yet.
Banda is in the show. She was in the television show Deep State, and her CV was recently updated to include a credit for Milani in the second season of Wheel of Time. So, according to this article, she was in Morocco while filming was occurring, and that's as much as we know. So, Milani, here we go. Code name, red herring, or new character.
New character.
I'm gonna say codename,
Ooh.
or possibly just name change.
Code name
Who do
for
you think
who?
she is?
Melody from the
Oh, Mullane?
the wise one.
Mulaney?
What?
I call her
Mullane.
Melody, the
Mullane.
wise one.
Me too, Mullane.
What?
I say Mullane. But that's fine.
Oh, yeah,
She
Mullane
does have
was,
red hair, right?
She was young too. Yeah, she had
Yeah.
that red hair, and she was very young. Well, she looked young.
Well, it's probably
She wasn't
Melody,
young.
I just have.
Yeah.
I'm just transposing letters, but yeah.
I was gonna say
I like
a
that, Tom.
Sylvain.
She looks a little too young. I mean, this picture, I don't know how old Lily Bandy is, but she looks very young.
I was gonna say I say Sylvain, but from Shanshan. That's what I was gonna suggest.
I was thinking of a Damane possibly.
Yeah.
Milani sounds like kind of like a Damane name, although it seems like it has
Milani the Damani.
Damane. She has. It seems like too many syllables for a Damane though. Like
Right.
Lonnie would be like the Damane name.
Lonnie, yeah.
Yeah. Or Mila, but Milani seems like too many syllables. Too much trouble for a soldam to say. But yeah, she was filming in Morocco. I mean, we know Falma is Morocco, but we also think some other, right? They filmed in multiple locations in Morocco, so they could have used it for other things like the waste. So you've got Shanshan possibly, you've got Aiel possibly. Tom seems to be leading towards the Aiel, which is kind of cool. I like that idea. Jen and I are
Lily
leading
Ben
towards the
is 32
Shanshan.
years old, by the way.
Is she? Is that picture old then that's posted in the article, or is she just amazingly young looking?
I think that picture is used to get her parts.
So then she could be playing Mullane.
I think that's my
I
bet.
like her for Mullane now. She's got that fiery hair too, and the young face. So
Why would they change it?
maybe
Because-
maybe the person who wrote her CV spelt it wrong.
Or maybe
Milani.
maybe there in the writers' room there was somebody like me who pronounced her name wrong for 20 years. and got embarrassed and said, "Well, you know what? Now our name's this."
Yeah. We'll see. Only time will tell.
Yes, it will.
Mm-hmm.
The wheel of time turns. I can't. The wheel of time turns and ages come and pass. Only then will we know who Milani is in the
The
second
Wheel of Time
age.
needs to turn faster.
It does need to turn faster. I feel like each season is an age when it should be all in the third age. Um, so that's all we have here. Any last bits you wanted to talk about or comment on about this article?
No.
Exciting stuff, I think, but
Yeah.
not as exciting maybe as our next piece of news. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I guess depending on the ear of the beholder. Interest lies in the ear of the beholder, right? That's a saying.
Yeah, definitely. Heard that.
That is something that someone once said.
The
Yes.
beholder has like a lot of ears on it.
I bet you nobody said that until I just did.
It's true.
I've come up with something completely original. So you may remember that Dragonmount had an interview with Rafe Judkins, showrunner of The Wheel of Time, last Saturday. Um, if you didn't watch it, go watch it. It was entertaining. It's short. It's only like a little over a half hour, I'd say, maybe like
Mm-hmm.
40 minutes at most. Um, Nothing mind blowing or earth shattering, but Rafe had some interesting things to say about the TV show. So let's just kind of go through it a little bit and kind of parse out some things that we think are interesting. I guess I thought it was very interesting because Dragon Mount solicited questions from fans, right? They posted on Twitter a form that you could fill out to submit questions and explicitly said in the tweet not to ask about when season 2 is going to come out. Yet the first question that they asked Rafe was when season 2 is going to come out. They said, don't ask when season 2 is going to come out. We're not going
Maybe
to
they meant
include that
Well,
in the
maybe
question.
we're
definitely
already
gonna
going to ask
question.
that. So
But they
don't
should have
ask
just
it.
said, like, we're don't ask that question because we're going to ask it. Or don't worry, we're going to ask that question. But I thought it was funny that they explicitly were like, don't ask that question and don't put anything offensive in there. And then the first question they asked was about season 2 and when the release date was. Anyway, I'm a little upset. I had a really good question. I was very fair and honest and interesting question, and they didn't ask it. So,
Oh,
but I understand there was
man.
probably lots of questions, and they couldn't ask all of them because Rafe only had a limited time, and you know, I get it.
What was your question, Joe?
My question was if he could share some of the differences that they experienced in working on season 1 versus working on season 2.
Hmm.
So it was kind of an open-ended question. I figured that like Rafe could easily, interpret any way he wanted and share with it whatever he wanted. It wasn't like, I wasn't trying to pin him down into saying something. Which is kind of funny because during this interview, numerous times Rafe would be like, start to answer a question and be like, I'm not sure if I can answer that or say that. And he would have to think to himself if he could answer the question, which was kind of fun. But anyway, they did ask him when season 2 was coming out. They mentioned, they specifically talked about that article that said early 2023. And Rafe said, in not so many words or more than the words I'm going to say right now, he said, not early 2023, but definitely 2023.
I'm gonna take exception with that.
Okay, good. I'm
I
hoping
just
you
listened
were.
to it earlier, like right before, and he said, "I'd like to say 2023. I think I could say 2023." He did not say definitely 2023.
I thought he did say it will be out in 2023.
No, he didn't. The first time he said it, he was like, I think I could say 2023, and then later on he said it should be 2023, not early 2023, but he didn't say definitely 2023
Ugh.
because
I think
I
they were.
heard him.
I understood that as like they're planning on it coming out in 2023.
Yeah,
But
I
like,
think
there's
that's the
always something that could
expectation.
happen that would change that.
That's the expectation. Well, I mean, I guess to me, there's no. He also definitively said they're actively still working on it and it's not done.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not ready to go.
If this show doesn't come out in 2023, I'm gonna throw up. That's a guarantee. That's a definite.
We'll
What
video.
the hell?
We're gonna video it too and like
I
release it as
I
well.
think
No,
it'll be
don't
out in
don't video
2023,
it.
and I don't think it'll be out at the end of 2023 either. I really don't. But I just wanted to make people feel as nervous as I did when I heard that answer.
I think he was just trying to be like, I don't want to guarantee anything, so he was
Right.
just kind of saying like, that's what I got from it. I got from it is it's planned to be coming out in 2023, but obviously there's always things that could happen that would maybe make that not possible.
He's like a doctor. He can't give 100%.
No,
Right.
no one asked him for
Right. I mean,
percentages.
he took the first season of the show. It took him a year longer than anticipated to film. So like whatever. Like he can't guarantee anything in this goddamn life. But no, I think again, I don't think it's the end of 2023. I still don't think it's the fourth quarter of 2023. I think it'll be before that. So
And I was going to start debating, like he said, not early 2023. And then, like, we can argue what means early 2023 anyway. Like, to Rafe, April might be not early 2023. But now I'm starting to think like it's summer. Like, we're not getting anything till like June. Or my other thought is now, and I keep, fuck this show. Is that it's going to come out in September. It's going to come out when Rings of Power came out this year. Because Rings of Power ain't coming out anytime soon.
yeah, Rings of Power, well, no, Rings of Power is 2024 at the best.
Yeah.
Uh,
So now I'm starting to think that maybe it's September of 2023.
They also recently confirmed that Invincible is coming back out in 2023. I'm just trying to think of how many different shows are coming out in 2023.
Right? And
Like
we
Good
heard that The
Omens,
Boys will be out in the
Carnival
summer.
Row, The Boys.
Will be out in the summer of this 2023. So I don't know when though. Is that June, July, August? I don't know. So I'm
When
gonna
is Good
guess
Omens? Good Omens is the summer too, right?
Good Omens is coming out in. I feel like we know that's coming out in like.
Hold on, I'm gonna look right now.
I don't remember now. Check it out. I feel
Good
like it's
Omens
May or
season
June.
2. Summer 2023.
Another summer 2023. So that's two shows we know that are coming out in 2023. And if they don't want to
Invincible.
run them together, like there's
And
nothing that
Carnival
says they
Row.
can't put them together.
like Invincible, they can put out at the same time as this. That's not
That
overlapping.
was a pretty big show though.
I
It
feel
was a
like
big
that
show, but
wouldn't
I think
be-
it's not the same.
Right,
the
yeah, I
same-
guess.
That won't be
you
coming
know.
out the same time as The Boys. They wouldn't run those shows concurrently
Right,
because they're both
okay.
superhero shows.
And I don't think they would run The Boys and Wheel of Time. I think that they have
Yeah,
certain
I
shows
don't
that they
think so either.
consider their bigger shows, their more prestige shows, and they won't run those at the same time, right? Whatever those are. I think like I Know What You Did Last Summer season. I don't know, whatever like that. They could run at the same time as the Wheel of Time, but they won't put the Wheel of Time and The Boys at the same time, right? You don't want your Amazon boxes to have only one particular add-on. Here's honestly though, here's my takeaway. So I've been saying for a while that I think it's going to be, April. I think it's going to be April. I think that's what I think it's going to be. Now, I don't think they know. I don't think
I don't think
have
they
a
know
date
either.
because it's not done. Like it's that, and I don't know if he knows when it will be done or anyone knows when it will be done. So I don't know if they know. And if they don't know now, yeah, I'm thinking maybe it's the fall.
So he
Maybe
did.
it's the end of the summer.
Yeah, I mean, moving on to season 3, right? He did mention that he just came from like a wrap in the writers' room, but I don't know or a break at least. So they could be done with season 3, or maybe they're just on like a break now until the
He
new
said
year.
it's a holiday break. They're going to come back afterwards.
He
They're
did
not
say a
done with
holiday
it
break?
yet, but
Okay, yeah. So they're working on season 3. He was working really hard on writing it. People already asked about him working on God of War, and he said that it's not going to affect his commitment to, as he referred to it, wheel. He calls it wheel, not what, which I thought was interesting. But I guess that's probably just what the Amazon people call it, or everyone on the show calls it, because I don't know, what probably is confusing. Because if you ask the question what and what, whatever. Anyway, he said that God of War, it's something he's been working on, which I think we talked about a while ago, like when it was announced. He said he's been working on it for a while. He's also said he's been working on other things, and it's not uncommon for showrunners to work on multiple projects. So for anyone who's worried that like it's going to ruin Wheel of Time. For those of you who don't like Wheel of Time or don't like what Rafe's doing with Wheel of Time, you should be happy that he's working on other things because maybe that means he'll be spending less time, involved with Wheel of Time. I don't know. Take it as you want. But I think this is a big nothing burger.
Mm.
So eat it up, everybody. Um, he also talked about some new technology that they're going to be using and things like that. He couldn't say what. I don't know why he couldn't say what it was, but somebody asked questions about like the Bolt camera and if they're going to be using any other new technologies and things like that. And he kind of hinted towards they were, but couldn't share. So I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts on that or interpreted it differently than I did?
I don't have thoughts as to what the technologies are. I think that this just goes into like Amazon's like, don't say anything about anything because maybe somebody knows that this camera is only used in aerial shots, and that means that they know we're going to do the fight in the sky, and you can't say anything about it.
This
So, like,
this
or
type
whatever.
of camera is
Like,
only used to film Drakkar. Everybody knows that.
right, right. So yeah, I think it's just like I can't tell you, but like I like the overriding point, which is that we're not sitting on what we've done, that we're keep trying to go forward and find new, more current, more up to date, more cutting edge technology to give you the show that we want to give you.
Yeah.
Right? I like that part of that answer.
This question might have been my favorite question or favorite answer. But he did talk a little bit about, or they did talk about like ways to get more into season 2, right? And he did talk about the episodes are going to be a little longer than season 1. He also mentioned that season 1 was actually planned to be longer. I guess when he mapped it out originally, it was planned to be 10 episodes, and they had to compress it into 8 episodes. And that I didn't know that. I don't remember ever hearing that before. Or maybe I just forgot about it.
Yeah, I think that we talked about that on the show. I don't know if he ever officially confirmed that before, but I think that we talked about the fact that the first episode was originally supposed to be 2 hours, supposed to be a 2-part episode, or 2 episodes in one, even maybe. But like they were supposed to spend 2 hours in Emmons Field or the 2 rivers before they left, and that's why that first episode got so condensed and so rushed.
Yeah, it does explain a lot that he had originally mapped the season out to be 10 episodes, and then he had to compress it. So I mean that answers a lot of questions as to why they did a lot of the things that they did.
And I want to say, like, my understanding of this, or the way that I'm reading this, like the way I'm hearing this, is not that like, hey, I conceived it to be 10 episodes and then we moved it to 8. It's like we wrote 10 episodes,
Yeah,
and then they're like, no, you've got to do 8 episodes. Figure that out. And so like that took a lot of reworking and things of that nature. And I think if that's the case, that makes the first season even more remarkable. I mean, the first episode definitely, like everyone I think said it, like when that episode came out, you could feel the hyper compressed elements of that, especially at the end. But yeah, I think that if they had to do that on the fly, or like while they were in pre-production, like that's amazing that they were able to do that, because frankly, the whatever you want to say about the SFX or what they had to do with last Chuck episodes without Barney Harris or whatever, like the episode plot, like what happens in each episode is like very well done. I think like the arcs and the cliffhangers and all the rest of that. So
yeah. He did talk a little bit about season 2, right? We mentioned the longer episodes, so we're getting a little bit longer episodes. He talked about changing the story more to get through it more effectively. So I think he's kind of setting us up like there's going to be more changes going on, and it's just because we have to get through the story. And he compared. This was really interesting to me. He talked about pages per episode, right? He talked about like with Wheel of Time, they're talking about 200 pages per episode, which I don't know if that makes sense because that means the books are 1,600 pages each, but.
I think
well, actually, no, right? Because they're combining multiple books into. Yeah, you're right. So that doesn't make sense. He said 200 pages a book per episode compared to Game of Thrones, which was about 50 pages a book per episode. So think about that as a writer. having to condense 4 times as much information into an episode than Game of Thrones did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bananas, and I do think we've talked about this like before we do anything. We were talking about like when we first started the show, how so much of Jordan's writing is descriptive of the
Yeah.
costuming and the locations and like that obviously is very easily condensed because I don't have to tell you what everything looks like. I can just show you, but still it's a tremendous amount of plot that you have to get through. And like again, like he was very clear. He's like, hey, books 2 and book 3 have the same general arc. I cannot have the end of book 2 and the end of book 3 both appear in a television show. He's only fighting him once. Like that's it. So you're either gonna get the fight in the sky, or you're gonna get the fight in Tel'aran'rhiod and in the stone, or some combination of the two, but you're not going to get both of them. And like that's it. So like people who had problems with the changes in the first season are not going to feel better about the second season.
No, I mean I've said this all along. I said as the show goes on, there's going to be more and more changes. It's going to diverge more and more from the book, and they're going to have to obviously cut tons of information, story and information out because you can't unless you're doing 14 seasons, which is not going to happen, everybody. So you're going to have to cut out a lot of stuff, and it's just how it's going to be. And you're right, Tom. He talked about the similar story structure of books 2 and 3, and we've been talking about this. I think fans have been talking about this, how like the books 2 and 3 kind of follow the same pattern. So combining them into one, one season makes a lot of sense, or at least mostly. There's going to be things that are instrumental to the story that need to be in there from both books. And, he did mention that there are some big things that will be in later seasons that are being held off. He did talk specifically about and he used the analogy balls thrown in the air at the end of season 1 that they're going to start to drop and fall in place in season 2. So hopefully season 2 is going to make like kind of justify some of the changes and decisions that were made in season 1. And when you look back after season 2 comes out, when you look back at season 1, you're going to be like, that makes sense now. Kind of like how in Rings of Power, I was so mad about the digging of the trenches by the orcs, and we're wondering why they were digging trenches if they were digging tunnels because they couldn't get in the sunlight. And then, towards the end of the season, I was like, oh, that's why they were digging trenches. And I'm like, I apologize for all the criticism I gave. So I'm hoping that happens in season 2.
All right. Yeah, I think that we've talked about this before, and I don't want to get too like into this now because eventually we will do our episode breakdowns of what we think is going to happen. But like this season ends setting up for Shadow Rising, right? So this season ends, everyone's out of the tower, no one's going back. This season ends, the Aiel are with everybody and are going to be taking people back to the waste. Like this season ends, and like all of that is done, and Perrin's going to go back to the 2 rivers. Like that's what's going to happen in the 3rd season, right? So like you have Matt alone in Tar Valon. Great, he's going to just start where he is in book 3, right? There's no book 2 plot line for Matt, not that he has one really, but there's no him upset that he's a servant, or possibly him experiencing whatever he experiences during flicker, right? But you're going to end up presumably he's blowing the horn, and presumably he is gonna find something that's gonna make him want to go to the waste, right? But yeah, I don't think that the battle, I don't think they're going to Tyr. I don't think Tyr's in the show. I don't think they go there. I don't think the stone's there. I think like he talks about things that are supposed to be at this thing that aren't going to be, and I think that's gotta be Kalendor. And like he just doesn't show up until after they come back from the waste.
Could be in Ruidian.
I think that you can make him. I think that you can make them come out of the waste and go to Tyr instead of going.
Yeah, we've talked about that happening before.
Right.
So
that's where he gets it. Whatever.
The one thing I'm worried about is that you become so focused on like how do we get from point A to B in a quicker, in a more concise, more of a straight line as opposed to the books where you start like that's all you think about and that's all that's happening is every every part of the show is like how do we get from here to here in a quicker, more efficient way, and then the whole TV show just becomes not you lose everything. You lose a lot of stuff. Like you're just so focused on that. Like, well, we got to get to this point because this is an important point, and it just winds up all becoming like, well, how do we get from here to here? How do we get from here to here? And you never get to really have a cohesive story flow because of that. So I think they have to be really careful about that um, when they're writing. And not only are they hitting those important beats, because we've seen it in season one, right? We know there's things that Rafe was like, I need to put this in because this is really important or this is a big part in the books and I'm not going to change it too much. But then, like, he had to figure out a way to get to there or get from there to another part. And it kind of got lost. It kind of made the actual destination, I don't know, not as interesting as the journey there because they had to change the journey. And that's what
Yeah,
I
I
get
mean,
worried about. And that's kind of what we saw a little bit in season one, I feel like.
he talked about on in the interview about how important it was. Like he was asked about like diversity in the writers' room, and he said like it's not only about diversity in the way that that's normally discussed in the world, but it's also about
It's
diversity of
not, yeah,
thought,
it's not
diversity of
ethnic or societal diversity. He's talking about like
although
writing diversity.
that's there too,
Yeah.
but it's about different styles of thinking, different styles of working, different things
Yeah.
that you're good at, and like he wants to make sure there's a balance of dramatic and comedic writers. He wants to make sure there's people who know how to write to those plot mechanics, but he also has to balance that out. And I agree with you, Joe, about people who can write to character and make sure that this doesn't just become a checklist of plot, but like
Yeah.
that the characters' journeys are given as much weight to what they do, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Joe, can
Go
you
ahead.
give an example of what of like a scene in season one, like or something that you mean, but 'cause I don't
Um,
really 100% know what you're talking about.
I mean, like, they hit certain beats, right, that they wanted to hit, like Shadow Logoth. I would say, like, the way they got there and then the way they departed Shadow Logoth, I feel like, they kind of lost the way they got there. I feel like it was a little bit lost in the way that they got there in the books. And also, obviously, the way they go. Well, they went to Tarvalon, so it was different than in the
Yeah.
than in the
Well,
books.
yeah, I mean, we also know that there were other scenes that he wanted to be there that they just
Oh yeah,
couldn't fit, like
yeah. I'm not
Moraine
blaming Rafe
could.
for any of
Yeah.
this. I'm
Right,
not
right.
necessarily putting this all on
It
Rafe.
just like, and maybe like that stuff would have been in if they had the 10 episodes, like they would have had maybe more
Mm,
or more money. I don't know, Moraine with the fire and all these different like little land training them. Like that would have filled up the extra 2 episodes of time that they had.
yeah, yeah. They would just some journey moments. I think that I mean they did a real good job with I think Matt and Rand
Yeah.
on that storyline. They added in the whole storyline with Logain, so they kind of cut some of the other stuff out. I would have liked to see more stuff in. It was supposed to be Camelin, but I would have liked to see more stuff with Loyal, more time spent there.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more time spent in Tarvalon, like the city, not necessarily the White Tower.
Well, they probably had that one street and
Yeah,
that was
it seems like they
that's
only had
really all
one
they had.
street though for the
Yeah.
set. So, um,
I honestly think that if you gave me 2 episodes for that show, I'd put one of them in the first episode and make that 2 episodes. And I'd put the other one in episode 2 and make that 2 episodes.
Yeah.
you
And
think it
I'd
would be
leave
all
the
up
rest of
front?
the episodes where they are. for the most part.
I think I would have put more. You know what it is? It's not even that. It's because they did so many things later in the episodes that aren't in the books. Like they did the whole Step In storyline, and they did,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
and they did a lot of White Tower stuff in there. So I mean, that cuts out just like general things. Like I would have probably moved Min. I would have put Min where she should have been. To be honest with you, I wouldn't have put her in Faldara, and
But
I
then you would
made
have had Dana and Min like in the same place.
no.
There's
They
no
would have had
Baerlon.
to. They would have had to have been another stop. Like I don't know. Maybe you put. I don't know. Maybe you
You
put
put an
Taryn
episode
Ferry.
in. There should have been. That's what I'm saying. You make episode 2 twice as long
Yeah,
because then you have more time where they are a party
where
before
they
they
all
get split
stop.
up.
Right there. There was never a place
Right.
where they all stopped together.
Right. They
Well,
were
Right.
they
just running
camped.
and then they split up.
No, but
They
there could have been,
camped.
right? They could have been. They could have put
But
that in there where they all
I
stopped
mean,
together, and they could have. And then Nynaeve could have caught up with them there.
But
I don't know.
but
I feel
I
like
like
you
that.
really
I
have
do
to
actually
think.
like. No, sorry.
I feel like you really have to think about. So, say they stopped in Baerlon and they meet Min, and
They meet the White
then they.
Cloaks there. That could have been where the White Cloak scene happens instead of on the road. And you know what I'm saying? Like they moved the White Cloak, the
Yeah, but
meeting of the
then
White Cloaks to the road because they weren't going to stop in Baerlon. So they
but then
could
they
have
stop
put that in there.
again, and then they meet another girl like
No. They don't stop
Dana.
again.
No, I'm saying like
But
it's.
that's after they split, right? So they
I
go to
know, but it's the
Baerlon.
same stuff happening
No,
again.
because you stop in Baerlon,
I agree with Jenna on this. Like I think
you
that
put
You can't.
because you put so you stop in Baerlon, you put the White Cloak scene there, right? That's the meeting with the White Cloaks instead of on the road. You put Min in there, so that's where you meet Min, and then you could also put Nynaeve showing up there, so you could put all that stuff in Baerlon. Then you go to then Shadow Logoth
Wait,
happens,
you
and then
can't. You can't
what?
meet Min because then he'll know he can't. He's not supposed to talk to Min until the end because you're not supposed to know that he's a dragon reborn. So if he talks to Min and Min,
But he already has
if you wanted
suspicions that
Min
he's a
to,
Dragon
yeah, but
Reborn
if you
because
wanted Min to reveal the
you
dragon
don't. So
reborn thing to
you don't
him,
need to reveal that.
all right. Well, now
Whatever.
you're rewriting the whole thing. I
But
mean,
I also agree with Jen. You don't want to go to 2 mining towns and meet 2 girls that
Well,
random
they
might
only
sleep with,
made the
and
second
then one
one.
of them.
They only made the second one another mining town because they didn't put Baerlon in it. It wouldn't have been like
Right, but
that
like,
mining town would have been Baerlon, and then they would have Rand and Matt would have stopped in
4
just some
K's could have
other
been
town.
another town.
Yeah, just some other town. So
But
you gotta think about it like we're not just everything as it existed in the show wouldn't still exist. They would be moving stuff around, but
I don't mind. I don't mind the plot mechanics of where Min was. I don't mind like that. Really doesn't bother me at all. I think that worked well.
no, it's not a
I think
huge
where
deal. But I think they could have
I think
kept
where
it
the
in there.
show lost is that there was no like there was one episode where they were a party and then they got split up. Like and then that like there's
Yeah.
no time for anybody to bond with anybody. Like
Yeah, I would have liked to have
well,
seen.
not with Lan, but they're already bonded with each other. I mean, the
yeah,
kids
not
are
with Len or
not with
Maureen at all.
Lan, but they don't bond with
Like
Maureen.
Yeah, like we didn't get to see that when they go to Baerlon when they're all kind of like. And remember Maureen's dancing and like the boys. One of the I forget is it Rand dances with Maureen and stuff like that. Like they're at that kind of like. Yeah, you
I
don't
don't
get
relax
that.
for a second.
I
Yeah.
don't think Maureen would dance in this show at that point because
Yeah.
it's like too tense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's but
You know
that's
what
what
I
I'm saying.
mean?
You're saying in the show as it was. I'm talking about as it could have been.
I don't mind the fact that they're like that the first 2 episodes are like well the second episode's a chase, right? There's no time for that. The way that they have structured the show, the way they wrote it, they would never go to a town and stay overnight. They're just running for their lives and they're
Yeah.
constantly being chased by monsters.
Yeah.
So like there's not enough time for them to like they would never feel peace. And I don't mind that so much. I just feel like there's a lot of character building that could have happened prior to them splitting up. You could have had a lot more dynamics. It could have fed into like the weird revelation at the end that like there was a love triangle that whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that stuff could have happened because there could have been dialogue or some scenes that could show that stuff, but whatever. That's fine.
Yeah.
What I am hoping for, what I dream amongst dreams, is that eventually he does get his 10 episodes. Because while I do love the fact that season 2 is going to have longer episodes,
I doubt it.
I feel like maybe not the Shadow Rising. If that's season 3 alone, okay. But eventually you're going to start to do 2 of those giant books per season. Probably in season 4 is going to be, Lord of is going to be Fires of Heaven and parts of Lord of Chaos at least. And I'd love to get 10 episodes for that. So please, gods of Prime Video, hear my plea.
Yeah.
Grant my Christmas
Or
wish.
they'll
Christmas
just be
wish.
8 episodes, and they'll be like the last season of Stranger Things, where they were all like an hour and a half long.
Oh, it was like 8 movies.
Yeah. I just want to touch on a couple other things from this because we could digress a little bit. Tom, you mentioned diversity. I did want to talk about he talked about the Twitter of Time community, and he mentioned about like statistics that he was shown about the Twitter of Time community on Twitter. And he said that statistically, it's the best fandom in terms of being kind, positive, and welcoming. So apparently, there's like data and statistics on this. He said 70% of the community thinks the show is good as the books or better.
Wow.
He said that wasn't
Better. Who thinks it's better than the book?
He said that was different because that wasn't necessarily people on social media.
Oh, that might have been something different.
That's different.
But he was talking about how like there are ways or statistics on like I guess fandoms, I guess on Twitter or different social medias, and he said that literally statistically the best fandom in terms of being kind, positive, and welcoming was Twitter of Time community.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. I think that the community in general takes kind of pride in the fact that that's how we are.
Yeah, and if anyone's a jerk, we totally bully them until like hiding.
I feel like honestly, I mean,
it's true.
I think that there is a part of this community that has zero tolerance for anybody who doesn't immediately appear to be like open to like everything. But I think that a large part of this community believes in communication and believes in talking to people.
Yeah.
And believes in like, okay, like, when the show came out, there were plenty of people like on our Discord, plenty of people that we talked to, who didn't love the show for a variety of reasons. And it wasn't like, you don't love the show, get the hell out of here. It was like, yeah, okay, there's things about the show we didn't like either.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about it. And I think that's the part of the community that I like the most, right? I'm not a huge fan of like, you disagree with me and I'm right, so leave. Like, I don't like that part of it. I know that there are people who are a little bit, I don't know, I would say extreme in their, we have to be accepting of everybody. And if you make anyone feel uncomfortable, then like, this isn't the place for you. But I think most people are like, hey, this is the place for everybody. Just, it's a place for everybody. So you have to be cool with that. And like, if you don't like everybody, you have to be cool that this is a place for everybody. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's a different thing. There's a different vibe between like, I don't want you here and I want everybody here. And if you're not okay with wanting everybody here, then maybe this isn't the place for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And in general, I think that I've been a part of fandoms that are very exclusive, that are very much like, you weren't here before me, so you're not allowed to be here. And that's not this fandom. This fandom is like, this
are
fandom
you
is
saying,
excited when
are you talking about
books.
an originalist, Tom? Is that what you're talking about?
I guess so. But like, whatever. Like, I'm like, people who read comic books before comic book movies became huge were like, people who like comic book movies weren't real fans. And I'm like, that's bullshit. People who liked Star Wars before any of the Star Wars sequels came out, like, you're not a real Star Wars fan because you weren't here in the, like, that's bullshit. And there's a lot of that. And that's not here. People here are like, you just started reading the books. That's great. You're gonna love them.
Yeah.
That's the vibe here. Like, the vibe here is what like we all did when we read the books, which is like, what chapters did you read today? Tell me about it. Like,
yeah.
How many podcasts or YouTube shows are about like, hey, I love these books, and here's someone who's reading for the first time. Isn't it great to experience that? Like, that's this community.
We kind of enjoy living vicariously through new readers.
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
As opposed to other people who are like, oh, you're new, you don't get it like I do.
Right. There's people in other fandoms who are like, you didn't suffer through having to wait for a book and then it turns out to be Crossroads of Twilight. You don't know what it's like to be a fan.
Mm.
Like, that's not this community for the most part, and that's cool. I didn't know there were statistics to back that up, though.
I didn't know either. Apparently there were, though. Rafe said that there were statistics, actually, to... it's kind of creepy, but okay. Rafe's favorite Wheel of Time insult, he loves when Lanfear calls anybody a pale-haired milksop, so... Loves
That's
that.
a good one. I hope that's in the show.
Yeah, I mean, if he loved it, I imagine they're putting it in the show. I imagine like things when Rafe says, "Oh, I absolutely love this."
Yeah,
that means it's going to be in the show.
Oh, didn't he say something about like how much time they spent talking about the 13 Black Aja and like describing their different personalities and making sure they knew? So that makes me think that's all going to be in the season. You think?
Oh yeah, he talked about,
I can't remember exactly what he said.
He said it's like, I think the question was like about his favorite minor character or something, or passionate about, and he said he loves Pavara, and that she might find her way into the show. And he was talking about the writers and like people who work on the show. There are people who are book fans and whatnot, and he said the writers know every one of Leandrin's Black Aja Cabal. And he said Jean, I don't remember how he pronounced it though.
I don't remember how
I think he said Katie, and he mentioned how like it was an incorrect pronunciation.
Oh, okay.
And he was just talking about that, Jen, how like the writers knew every one of their names and all about them, and so the writers are kind of talking about how passionate they are about some of the things in the show.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's going to be in this season.
Yeah, and then I was
or maybe they're working on it for season 3.
Yeah, I was thinking when he said that like Chesmel fucking Emery.
Right, yeah. When he mentioned Chesmel, I was like, oh, he said Chesmel again. Yeah, actually, it probably makes more sense for season 3.
When that meltdown is what caused the writer's room to have to learn who all of them were.
Yeah.
Yes.
Study this. You won't suggest fucking Chesmel Emery again.
Yes.
That's
they all learned. They learned their lesson.
Yes.
You know, I want each of you to have an essay on one of these characters on my desk first thing in the morning.
Oh my god.
1,000 words.
Oh
is there anything else in the interview that you guys wanted to talk about before we wrap that up?
Just about the Pavara thing.
Okay.
He mentioned that it's a character, kind of a minor or not, maker that he really likes. And that like, I think the way he put it, I don't have this quote. It's like just my recollection, pardon me, is that like, he hopes to get her on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's interesting to me because she becomes like a very important, like, whatever, tertiary character, but like a very important character in the later books. And a lot of the Black Tower stuff is like between her and
Andrel,
right? So like maybe they're like, if he doesn't know if she's going to be on the show, like how much of that stuff is planning to be in later seasons. Curious to me, that's all.
He said something to the effect of like she might find her way into the show. So I don't know if he was just being coy.
Maybe he's being coy.
Yeah,
maybe. I thought that too. It could have been. I picked up on that as like something of note. Yes.
Yeah, like while he has the the series or the show mapped out, there's obviously a lot of room for changes and people being put in and pulled out, and also I guess it also depends on how many seasons he winds up getting. So, all right. So I wanted to do one last thing before we wrap it up. So for those of you listening, today is actually Festivus. It is December 23rd. And December 23rd is actually Festivus. For those of you who don't know what Festivus is, go look it up or watch Seinfeld. Because
go look it up.
It's Festivus for the rest of us. It is a holiday that George Costanza's dad made up on the show Seinfeld. So we figured that as part of Festivus, we should incorporate that into our episode. So we're going to incorporate part of that. Here we go right now.
The tradition of Festivus begins with the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it.
So welcome to our Festivus special segment, the airing of grievances. So we'll try not to air too many grievances. I don't think we're going to spend too much time on this, but I thought it would be fun. So does anyone want to air a grievance first? We'll bypass the feats of strength portion of Festivus.
Ah,
Unless there's something that you guys want to lift that's really heavy.
I was looking around to see if I
Yeah,
had
I don't
anything
really
that
have
could
anything
appear
in
to be
here.
really heavy, and I don't.
I have an amplifier behind me I could lift, but
No, I don't want
anyway.
something that's actually heavy.
Oh.
I just want something that would look like it was heavy, so it would appear
Like
to
that
those.
plastic anvil you have.
That's right. That's right. These pretend weights.
Yeah.
So I'll have a grievance. It's something that we've talked about on the show already, but I can't stand the complete lack of like openness and forthrightness from Prime Video on this show at all. Like you can't give us anything but anything. It's a complete lockdown, even of like opinions about how things happened in something that hasn't been released yet. And that really frustrates me. Not just because it makes our job a lot harder in what we do, but I feel like I understand why you want to have like an information lockdown for these shows. And I don't want I understand why you don't want leaks of set footage or things like that getting out. Great. But like when the person who's in charge of the show has a interview in like a very, niche kind of like fan base place, and every other question he asks, like, as he starts to answer it, he has to go like, I can't say that. Like, that's a frustrating thing. I got a lot of problems with that. So
I
that's
want
my
to
first grievance.
I want to piggyback off of that because my grievance is semi-related to that, and it has more to do with the lack of information and the lack of, not just information but material that we've been getting. A la What Origins that was supposed to be released in August that we haven't gotten. Like, why haven't you released it yet? Like, it's done. Clearly, it's done because they showed a clip of it at San Diego Comic-Con, and I doubt they just had a clip to show. They're only 4 minutes each. So why haven't you released that yet? Why haven't you released anything yet? Why haven't you shared any information about the show, about when it's going to be coming out? If you don't know when it's going to be coming out, then you're a poor excuse for a studio because you can't even. It's already been filmed. It's not like you're worried about, whether things are going to be finished filming. There's delays with your VFX and whatnot. I don't care. Make the fucking show come out. Pay the people what they need to be paid. Give us some information. Set a release date. I mean, come on. This is bullshit. Give us more information. Give us stuff. Give us
Yes,
information.
that's what's going to be my grievance.
What's that?
Jen, go ahead.
Tell us who's playing who. There's people
yeah,
out
release
there.
casts. Yeah,
Tell us who Zelia Mendes-Jones is playing. Tell us if Galad and Gowan are in it. Who cares at this point? We already know it's books 2 and 3. Just give us these characters. You want to hold back Lanfear? Hold back Lanfear. We know she's in it. Fine. Just tell us is she playing Surath? Is that Surath in the trailer? Just tell us. How does that ruin anything?
It doesn't ruin anything, which is
doesn't
bizarre
ruin any
because
people who are show people don't even fucking know who that is and won't care. Oh, okay, character. And we'll be all excited and we'll talk about Surath and it'll be great. And who cares? Just fucking tell us.
Yeah, and it drums up more interest for the
annoying.
show when they release bits of information like that, even if they're leaking it unofficially.
Right, just
give us information. Give us something.
So on that, we'll quadruple down on this.
This is going to be our last episode as Amazon shuts us down. After we've aired all our grievances.
I dare. Come for me, Amazon. Come for me. I dare you.
No, don't.
I think if they shut us down and like I found out that they knew who we were, like I'd be happy with that.
Shut them all down.
No, shut them all down. So
there's somebody in Amazon studio saying that. No, shut them all down. Shut them down.
Right. So like this is for some of the people who are watching this show live have mentioned in our Discord, like, hey, release the clips from the three different cons. Put those
Re-
out.
release
Give
the
us
deleted
something.
scene from season 1 that you showed, that you gave to
Yes!
people at WatCon to watch. You released one of them, never released the second one. You can, for people who are listening and don't know, well, I guess you would have to have virtual tickets to WatCon, but I was the one filming the live stream at WatCon, and I turned the camera to the screen so you can watch the scene, both of them. So you can see that scene. Like, release the scene. It's a deleted scene from season 1. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect anything in season 2 or 3 or 4. Release the fucking scene. And then Jen, you're right about the other two scenes that we get it. They held out those two scenes for the CCXP. I get it. Is there another con that they're holding them for at this point? Like,
I don't know.
release the scenes. Give us something. Give us information. Give us videos. Give us clips. Give us cast. Give us something. Come on.
We're the statistically the best fandom.
Yes, we are
Doesn't
the
that
best.
earn us anything?
Give us the best. We're the best. You must give us what we
The
want.
best, Cherry.
You're the best, Jerry. It's gold.
It's gold. Yeah, it's.
I got a lot of problems with you, Prime Video.
Oh,
We had to let that out.
that's good. I'm trying to think if I have grievances that
We
are
do
not
area grievances.
related.
Every week. Oh, I had one that was non-what.
Go ahead. You have more grievances you want to air?
I don't like when motorcycles just drive wherever the hell they want through
Yeah.
the cars, and they don't have to wait behind you. They could just go through the traffic, like between cars, and then when somebody gets killed on a motorcycle, everyone's like, "Oh no."
I don't
can't
really
believe
say that
you
when
did.
somebody gets killed on a motorcycle,
Well,
but
Oh, it's so sad. Oh, it was sad, but they should have fucking followed the rules of the road.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I agree with you 100%. This is
Sorry.
just starting to bother me the last few months. When did motorcycle, like, I understand, like, hey, you're a Hell's Angel, you don't give a shit about any laws, fine. But like, when did regular motorcycle commuters just decide that no traffic laws apply to them?
oh, it's always
Like,
been. Come
I
on,
don't-
man. They ride in
That's
shoulders
bullshit.
between
I've never
cars.
seen a
Bullshit.
motorcycle get pulled over for
I'm not okay.
weaving between
So I don't
traffic.
ride a motorcycle, but when I'm scooting across town on my Razor scooter.
What? You have
Yeah,
a
when I'm
razor?
scooting across town on my Razor scooter, I will go between lanes.
You're not a car. You're a scooter.
First of all,
You're allowed to
there's
do
bike-
that.
no, you're not. There's bike
Well-
lanes. That's where you're supposed to be.
Well, there's no bike lanes. On where I'm riding. So.
Well, that's fine because you're a human, not a person.
but I
on a
only do
motorcycle,
that.
Not
I don't do that
a
like.
vehicle on the road.
I don't do that. I only do that like when there's a stoplight and everyone's waiting at the stoplight, and I'll weave in between to get up to the front. Like the
Wait,
cars
do
aren't
you
moving.
ride your razor across town to get
Yeah.
to work?
Yeah.
You do?
I'm 40,
didn't know
I ride
that.
down 42nd Street
Oh my
from
god.
Port Authority all the way down.
Do you ever
to-
hit
to
yourself in
Minneapolis.
the ankle bone with it? Because that freaking kills.
No, I've never done
You ever?
that before.
Because it swings. Like if you pick it up by the handle, the bottom part like swings out,
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, but no, I've never
cracks
done
you
that.
right in the ankle bone. Yeah, it's not fun.
No.
That's a grievance I have. I get hit in the ankle bone by a razor.
Tom, was there a non? You sound like you
yeah,
had a
well,
non-watt
now that you
grievance.
have brought this up, we're going to talk about traffic.
No.
I'll talk about
No.
this.
What was your original one? We're not going to go on a traffic rant. Let's not do that.
No. I got a lot. So this does bother the hell out of me. Bothers the hell out of me. Right? People don't understand like how to merge appropriately. And there are some people. So if I am
Zipper?
coming back from New Jersey into Staten Island, you go over a certain bridge, the Goethals Bridge, and it comes off, and the bridge splits to 3 different highways, right? Or an exit, and then one highway, and then a different highway, right? Everyone's driving across the 2-lane bridge or a 3-lane bridge now, and then they're not in the right lane when they're driving, so they're trying to merge across lanes to get to the place that they want to get to. So I'm trying to get to the leftmost highway to go across Staten Island towards my home. There's 2 lanes on this highway, and then there's a shoulder for people to break down that they can park, right? There's 2 lanes. There's a ton of traffic. It's always traffic. It's always backed up. And you have to drive for about 3/4 of a mile, and then it clears up. Except the reason that there's all this traffic is that there's I would say every 45 seconds, one selfish asshole who's just like, I don't want to wait. I'm just going to drive on this emergency shoulder at like 60 miles an hour and cut in front of all these people because I'm more important than them.
You should call up the transit authority
No,
or
you know what
whoever
I
and
do?
have them place a car there.
I drive half on the shoulder and half in the lane. So that person has to stop behind me.
Why? So you drive all the way to the west side of the city and then go over the bridge into Jersey?
No. This is not
No.
coming home from work. This is like when I go visit my in-laws.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a once a week.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
I can't stand people who feel like society's rules are not for them because they're better. Or these people
well,
probably think that they're
I
really
sometimes feel
clever.
that way too, but I also get mad at people who do that as well. So I'm a hypocrite.
And like, I don't understand. Like, to me, if I were a cop,
but
if
I
were a
don't do
traffic
that. I
cop-
won't drive on the shoulder though. I won't do that.
If I were a traffic cop or I were like a state trooper or whatever, like I would just park there and just
Pull
ticket.
people over
Like
constantly.
I'd make so much like money for the
you
state.
hit your quota in 2 days.
Yeah, that's all.
All right. Any more grievances anyone wants to air before we wrap the show up?
No, we'll save them for next year.
I will share one more grievance now.
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's more of an apropos grievance because of this, storm, blizzard, Elliot, whatever you want to call it. I have a grievance with the weather people who, and this has been going, I feel like this has been going on for the last few years or so, where they blow storms way out of proportion because I don't know, I feel like they're trying to make themselves feel more important or kind of, hey, look at me kind of thing. But I feel like they've been doing this now for a while, and I feel like they didn't used to do this, where like every storm that comes now is like this big, huge, like bomb cyclone. Where the fuck did that term come from all of a sudden? Like, what's a bomb cyclone and like, why are you calling it a bomb? Superstorm Sandy. Like, come on. Like,
Well, that was a superstorm.
Well, that was a different thing.
they're making up new terminology to make it seem like it's super cool or super badass or whatever. I don't know. They're coming up with all these new terms. They're making storms
that we drank in college.
This Elliot, right? Oh, they literally, I was telling Tom and Jen before this, they closed my kid's school yesterday because of Elliot. Right? And I said, well, why the hell did they close the school? It's supposed to rain. They're closing the school because it's raining out. I woke up this morning. It was drizzling out. Like, you fucking close the school because it was drizzling out. And then what? It rained during the day. It was windy. Ooh, wind. Ooh, we can't go to school because of wind. Like, calm down, weather people. All right?
So you're right, because I think Sandy was like a cry wolf situation where like
it was a bad hurricane, but they had to come up with a new term. Like, this isn't a hurricane. It's a superstorm. No, it's a hurricane.
Trying to agree with you. I'm saying they blow every storm out of proportion, and then people would leave their houses and nothing would happen. So I think for Sandy, a lot of people didn't evacuate because they didn't believe that it was going to be a bad storm. In
And then it's like they're crying wolf, and they're they're causing people to 100%, Jen. They're crying wolf over and over again, and then people don't believe it, and they're like, and you're thinking like these people are idiots because they don't believe it, and you're like, no, they have a good reason not to believe it because they're constantly talking about like these, not constantly, but they're playing up all these storms.
Right.
Like they're promoting like the new summer blockbuster movie. Like it's not a movie, everybody.
No. Oh, I got to find out what's going to happen with this bomb cyclone. So we got to watch the news.
I think the other thing that came out of Sandy was that people found out that like weather got ratings, which is like like a discovery for local news, and now that this is what they do. I would say this, just to move off of the Festivus grievances. Someone asked in chat.
We got to end the show. This episode's way too
positive.
Long.
Well, no, they asked if we could say something positive before we ended it because we're so angry right now.
Okay.
So I'm going to say something positive that's also meaningless to a lot of people, but whatever. Where we work, starting in the new year, we're starting a new contract where we're going to get a ton more business. But because of the nature of that business and because of the nature of that contract, it's very difficult for us to start like preparing for it, doing that work in January. And over the time that I've worked at this company, I felt that a lot of things that come up are treated as somebody else's problem. It's not my problem. It's not my contract. It's not my work. I have my own business. Whoever has to deal with that can deal with that. And I felt that for this contract and this new line of business and this mess that we're, dealing with, it's not a mess, but it's a lot of stress or whatever. I felt that the entirety of my workforce, and everyone that I work with, really pulled together and brainstormed and came up with a bunch of different ways for the company as a whole to deal with this in a successful manner. It really pulled together. And I don't know whether that's because it's the holiday season. I don't know whether that's because someone's heart grew 3 sizes that day. I don't know exactly what the reason for it is, but I do want to say that every once in a while, I remember why I've been working there for 17 years. And it's really, really nice. So that's a little warm non-grievance that I have. That is really nice when you work with people who know how to work together and know how to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. So
It's a little rapey.
That's
Yeah.
It is a little rapey.
Don't spend
That's
your
good,
whole
Joe.
story looking for that.
I want to
clip.
say one more comment on the spanking, though.
Before we go, I'm going to give you 2 hobo signs.
Wait,
Let's
oh,
do butt
man.
sex.
All right, we're wrapping it up here.
Oh,
This
no.
also went way longer than I hoped it would go. But it was all quality, I hope, and I hope everyone enjoyed everything that we talked about. I want to remind everyone to follow us on social media. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Join us over in Discord to continue the conversation there. Rate and review us wherever you listen to podcasts, and check out our merchandise and Patreon pages to support us that way. Links to all the aforementioned information is included in the show notes to this episode. I want to wish everybody a happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, happy Festivus, happy Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, happy Denali. What was the other one?
Diwali.
Diwali. Sorry, Denali is the
Denali
mountain.
is a car, right?
It's a mountain. It's a mountain. The car's named after the mountain.
Oh,
We will be back next week for our New Year's episode, wrapping up the year in Tucker and Riyadh and the Wheel of Time, talking about your favorite things. I don't know. We haven't really thought about that yet, but I'm sure it'll be interesting. So
like,
come and
what are
check
we
it out.
talking about?
Thanks everyone for listening, and you'll hear us next time.